Kuroko simply moving is somehow enough for Akashi to crumble and the ball gets ripped. How?
Tell me how you feel, please don't lie to me. Tell me how you feel, it means a lot to me. Close your eyes, you will arrive. Stay and sleep, one day you will arise. How many days in a week? When do we plan to meet? 7 days on this week.
Sports anime is one of those genres that I relate to the most because if y'all been following my channel for a while, y'all see my gaming videos are still up and I play fighting games and I'm a very competitive person.
Don't never in your life ever try to holler at me.
I'm gonna tell you suck and I'm gonna run your pockets again, nigga. What are you talking about? You're free, nigga.
But also, sports anime is a special kind of stupid that literally makes anything happen if the main team needs to win. That is why we're talking about Kuroko no Basket. Now, admittedly, I do actually like this show. It's one of my guilty pleasures, but it is beyond dumb in the worst ways imaginable. Now, for the sake of time, I'm only going to be talking about some of the games and some of the moments, mainly the Generation of Miracles, you feel me? Because I don't want to make this video too long. It's way too many games to go over, and it's way too much dumb shit for me to talk about. So, starting with the main character introductions. Now, this is Kagami. We're going to do Kagami first because I have a lot to say about Kuroko. But this is Kagami. Now, he is the miracle that never was, as described by Almine. Talented, mad, goated at the game, and some more shit. Granted, this spends half the season picking his fucking pants up because the Generation of Miracles just be dogging his ass. Like, that, but that's pretty much Kagami. He's like the nigga who has to carry Seirin the entire anime. On to Kuroko, and this by far is the worst character in the entire show. Why? Because anytime he needs to do anything, literally anything, no matter how impossible, no matter how Looney Tunes it is, it will just happen because he's Kuroko. This, first of all, is trash at basketball. This nigga's a cashier at the game. He's a goddamn janitor. Just sweep the floor, my nigga. But I guess he's like good at passing and some shit. And he's got this really bogus ass lack of presence ability where he just kind of doesn't exist or something. Like, they really try to feed you this idea that this is invisible. Like, he can stand in front of you or be running ahead of you and just don't see him. Like, that's his power. And all they do is glaze him for doing the literal impossible. Like, the other team just becomes stupid anytime Kuroko needs to demonstrate his supposed genius. There is nothing off the table. Anytime Seirin is in a jam and they need Kuroko to do something, I promise you, it will be the most Looney Tunes SpongeBob shit ever. Let's go. Let's talk about it.
Shinji, crank that, soldier boy.
And we're back with the rematch of Toho Academy versus Seirin. Now, y'all niggas already know, if it's the run back, Toho is doomed. Like, these niggas obviously wasn't gonna fucking win, but they had to go out with a bang, right? Like, Almine dog walks them pretty much the entire game, goes into the zone and some more shit, just to fucking lose to who of all people with the brightest idea, which is actually the dumbest idea, but let's talk about it. Toho has the lead and Seirin gets the most asinine foul ever. This nigga jumps straight up and Kiyoshi jumps into him and look at his face. This is the face of a nigga that knows he just went through some straight bullshit. Seirin decides to miss the free throw on purpose because they ain't got enough energy and stamina to go into overtime, you know, and play the long game. So Kagami catches it and is about to slam it in, but Almine jumps and blocks that bitch, sending it down the court. Now, everybody initially thought, oh, that's game over. And this nigga, Four Eyes McGlasses, is literally no more than like 3 feet from the ball, and suddenly, out of nowhere, Kuroko just appears between him and the ball, and I guess now glasses is 17 feet away now? What? Also, somehow Kuroko responds to Imeyoshi's thoughts and says, "You got it wrong. I didn't believe in Almine. There's only one person who's gonna make this shot, and it's Kagami." Shut your whole ass up, my nigga. How did you know what he was saying? But whatever. Kuroko launches the ball all the way down the court back to Kagami, who catches it and dunks on Almine, and that's how they win. Like, bro, this is such nonsense.
Wait, get up! Get up! You got this shit! Get up!
And now Seirin will take on the giant himself, Murasaki Bara, and his team, Yosen. And I guess these niggas are trying to be different because they have two aces. But this nigga Himuro, and I don't use this term like at all, this nigga is a fraud. Like, he is not good. He just be breaking every basketball rule ever. Like, look at this double dribbling ass shit. Like, I'd have been blowing the fuck out my whistle. Like, get your ass off the court because you clearly don't want to play. They try to feed you this bullshit. Like, his fakes are so good, they look like the real thing. Like, no. The prime example of this buffoonery is the Mirage shot. Now, when I first saw this, I thought, okay, he probably shooting that bitch at like light speed or something because that's not impossible for anime. But no, it is infinitely more ludicrous. You telling me this nigga is actually just shooting the ball twice? This show wants you to believe this stink is at all possible. Like, I understand that the other generation have some pretty ridiculous abilities, but this idea that the ball just phases through your hand because he shoots it twice is f***ing dumb. Ain't no way in the hell I'm letting you stay on the court, you double dribbling your ass off, you carrying like hell, and you doing this stinky ass shot. Get your ass on the bench, you now. Anyway, let's get to Yosen losing because they obviously do. Kagami goes into the zone and starts twerking on their entire team, throwing it back on the defense. They couldn't do shit. And Murasaki Bara at some point got tired of being a bum and enters the zone himself, almost stopping Kagami near the end of his zone. But of course, Kagami got the power of friendship nonsense out of his ass and re-locks in and
Ether!
With 4 seconds left, Murasaki Bara runs down the court and Himuro throws the ball to him. Now, Kagami, after yamming that shit on him, is unable to move. This nigga is out of energy. After catching the pass, he stops in front of the hoop because apparently he can't jump anymore because he did it too many times and he hurt his knees. But that's okay because any normal person would just toss the ball in. And Murasaki Bara acknowledges this, but no! And of course, here comes Kuroko, just needing to do some shit. And he jumps and blocks the ball, ending the game in their favor. Like, how are we not seeing this as complete nonsense? What? Look, bro, I'm telling you, anytime the plot needs Kuroko to do anything, no matter how dumb, it will just happen. Like, anytime this nigga needs to do some shit, the other player just becomes stupid. Like, Murasaki Bara literally says he can just shoot the ball since he can't jump. So why didn't he do that? And before anyone says, well, he was probably just waiting down the court and his lack of presence fucked Murasaki Bara's vision, he couldn't see him. Well, you wrong as hell, because right here, through Kisei's point of view, we see that Kuroko chased him. Like,
What did I just see?
Sin City.
and here we are with Seirin versus Kaijo, aka Pretty Boy Swag. Anyway, these niggas lose, and I have to say, this is the third worst loss out of all the Miracle Gen. The entire game, Kisei is obviously pantsing these niggas and gets subbed out so long that Seirin actually passes them. And even after his return to the court, it doesn't matter because Kuroko's now on the court and he has to do something, no matter how stupid it is. Kuroko notices a supposed habit of Kisei, which is if he copies the Generation of Miracles, whichever one he copies, he won't do it again, which is absolute bullshit because in the previous episode and all throughout the game, Kisei mixes it up and Kuroko acknowledges this by saying he can mix them up whenever he feels like it. So the plan is to have him use Almine to pass Kuroko, use Akashi on Kagami and Murasaki Bara in the paint. And while all of that does actually happen, it is beyond bullshit. Nowhere in this plan does he factor in Midorima other than saying, well, if he's in the paint, he won't use him. Got his ass. But then you quickly realize how fucking stupid this is because it's as if the start of the game, he didn't shoot full court and make that bitch. Like, why didn't you think he would just shoot in front of you? Kuroko can't guard any of the Miracle Gen. Kisei is just stupid here. This is so infinitely dumb when you realize that this is Kaijo's most optimal play. Like, if Kisei had just used Midorima to shoot a 3, they would have had a 2-point lead. They were at 78-79. We know this because they had 78 and then Seirin scores a little bit and they get to 79. He passes the ball to his teammate shooting a 2, putting them 1 point ahead. If he had made the 3, it would have limited Seirin's options to either a 3-pointer or a 2-pointer to tie the game. But like always, any player Kuroko's up against abandons all logic and becomes stupid. But apparently, this was all within the plan because it was supposed to draw Kisei under the hoop so Kagami could get a head start to run down the court and catch the fucking pass and I guess win the game that way. But this doesn't happen because Kisei tries to stop Kagami and then the most stupid shit ever happens. This nigga passed the ball off the backboard back to Kuroko and he shoots and scores. This is stupid because not only is this the most reckless play of all time, what happened to the 2 niggas that were chasing Kagami? Did they just stop when Kisei passed them to get in front of Kagami? Why didn't one of them mark Kuroko and lock that nigga down so that this dumbass play never happens? Like, what? Point is, Kisei fucking sold like the asinine player that he is, and like, yo ass a dummy. Imagine having a parlay on this nigga, the guy who can copy all the Generation of Miracles, by the way. Bitch, your ass viciously ugly. How you look like a stupid nigga? The final game is Seirin versus Rakuzan, and also the worst finals and the dumbest game ever. Cause like all the other games, when shit hits the fan and the other team is clearly just outperforming them, Kuroko's gotta pull some plot armor bullshit out of his ass and save the day. In the beginning, Akashi is frying Kagami, absolutely putting buckets on his top. Rakuzan is leading by hella points. At some point during the game, the gap is shortened to 10 points because Kagami is deeper in the zone, keeping Akashi in check, and the other Rakuzan niggas are just having a hard time locking up Seirin, so Akashi abandons teamwork and goes into the fucking zone himself. So naturally, he takes control of the game for a bit, but then the single most ludicrous interaction ever completely ruins everything. As Akashi runs down the court to score, Kagami and Kuroko jump in his way. Not sure how they even got down there ahead of Akashi in the first place, but somehow they do. And Akashi makes it a point that Kuroko cannot keep up with himself or Kagami in the zone. And even if he has an unforeseen plan, it doesn't matter because he can see the future. What do you think happened? What do you think happened? The most logical answer would be both of these niggas got dead up and Akashi just fucking scores. But no! Kuroko simply moving is somehow enough for Akashi to crumble and the ball gets ripped. How? No. Fuck out of here. This is such fucking bullshit. The Emperor Eye, stacked with the zone, should give him near godlike perception, considering the zone by itself gives you hyper-awareness of everyone on the court. He literally acknowledges Kuroko by saying, even if the nigga got a plan, the Emperor Eye makes it obsolete. So you telling me that Kuroko simply sliding in the opposite direction of Kagami is this godlike plan that the Emperor Eye didn't see coming? Stop it! Oh my god, this is so stupid, my nigga. Like, does no one think this is dumb? And of course, the explanation is this dragged out fantasy shonen bullshit exposition on friendship. And Kuroko predicted Kagami would go one way, so he went the other way. His very own Emperor Eye. Shut the fuck up, my nigga. This is so fucking stupid. After the ball gets stolen, Akashi just becomes a fucking fry cook who has never touched basketball in his entire life, my nigga. The game goes on, and Akashi eventually locks in and gets in the zone again. But not just himself, he puts his other teammates in as well. Can you believe that they still lose this game? How? How is it possible that they still lost? You know this is straight buffoonery. I also want to point out that Akashi's Emperor Eye just stops working. Like, in the most crucial point of the game, with like 2 seconds left or something, he jumps to stop Kuroko from shooting. Why? Any other time this happens and Akashi is guarding anybody, the Emperor Eye usually gives him some sort of notice and he can move accordingly. Why is he overextending here? And of course, Kuroko passes the ball and Kagami slams it in with 0.5 seconds left and they win the game. Bro, this shit is so stupid. I can't, bro. Clearly, I have demonstrated that this show is some stink. Like, bro, this is such bullshit, buffoonery, top tier head assery if I've ever seen it. But it is still one of my guilty pleasures. I can't lie to y'all niggas, man. Look, I still watch this shit. Like, I just love hate relationship. You feel me? That's it. I guess you know, man. Gang.